I got married at the same time as my sister, but my parents, who had always been biased, let me choose the dowry first, a pair of gemstone earrings worth $2.3 million, an ordinary peachwood hairpin. Just when I thought my parents were finally favoring me, some subtitles suddenly appeared in mid-air. The villainess would definitely choose the expensive one. She'd never dreamed that those earrings were burial items, entwined with the vengeful spirit of someone who died tragically. If she wore them, not only would she see ghosts, but she'd also be cursed with lifelong infertility. Our precious female lead received the peachwood hairpin on the day she married into the Green family. The eldest son, plagued by evil spirits, was protected by the peachwood hairpin and regained consciousness that very night. His health improved day by day, and the female lead successfully gave birth to twins, becoming the family's beloved. Reading those bullet comments, I reached for the pair of gemstone earrings without hesitation. I've always believed that humans are more terrifying than ghosts. Seeing me take the pair of earrings, my parents' faces showed expressions of relief. My sister, on the other hand, looked resentful, her eyes filled with disdain for the peachwood hairpin. Suppressing the joy in her eyes, Mom pretended to be displeased and said to me, "We let you choose first, and you really went for the expensive one. This pair of gemstone earrings is worth $2.3 million, see if you'll still have the nerve to say we favor your sister in the future." Hearing this, I immediately handed the earrings back. "If you were just testing whether I'm greedy for money rather than genuinely giving them to me, then I'll return the earrings to my sister. That way, you won't have anything to criticize me for in the future." My sister was about to take it when Mom slapped my arm hard and said, "You're unhappy after just a few words. There's no logic in exchanging dowry gifts. Once you take it, it's yours." I sneered inwardly. Such great acting skills wasted instead of pursuing acting. Once their goal was achieved, my parents found some excuse to send me away. I didn't say anything and left with the earrings. In the car, I was watching the surveillance footage from home. As expected, my sister was throwing a tantrum at home at that moment. "You clearly promised to give me both the earrings and the peachwood hairpin together, so why did you change your mind halfway? Why does she get to take the $2.3 million gemstone earrings? Those are mine," the elder sister shouted angrily at their parents. The father hurriedly explained, "Sweetheart, didn't I tell you, those gemstone earrings must be tainted with bloodshed to break the curse. We consulted someone, and your sister has a tough fate. As long as she suffers heavy bleeding once to break the curse, we can easily find an excuse to take them back later." The mother chimed in, "Those earrings are unclean. The master said whoever wears them will be barren for life. Although you're marrying the eldest son of the Green family and she's marrying the second young master, if she gets pregnant before you and the eldest son of the Green family doesn't wake up, your position will be precarious." The elder sister curled her lips in disdain, picked up the peachwood hairpin on the table, and said with disgust, "Are you sure this thing can wake up the eldest young master of the Green family? I promised Madam Green that I had a way to wake him up. If he doesn't wake up by then, she'll definitely kick me out of the Green family and take her anger out on you too. Don't worry." The master said that as long as the peachwood hairpin is placed on someone possessed by an evil spirit, the spirit will retreat on its own. The eldest young master of the Green family has been inexplicably asleep for over a year. He must be possessed by an evil spirit. My sister then cradled the peachwood hairpin as if it were a treasure, her eyes filled with greed, saying, "The position of Mrs. Green can only be mine." At this point in the video, I silently put down my phone and drove to a certain place, Dog Farm. I specifically picked out a rabid dog. The dog farm owner looked puzzled. "This kind of dog is beyond saving. It's killed many livestock and even dares to attack experienced trainers like me. Plus, it carries rabies and won't live past 3 days. This is exactly the kind of test subject I need." After paying, I put the earrings on Mad Dog's ears. Suddenly, a chilling wind blew past. I had been half doubting the subtitles, but at this moment, I deeply understood what it meant to be utterly terrified. Above Mad Dog, a sinister wisp of soul floated ominously. Struggling desperately yet unable to break free, the next second, the Mad Dog broke free from its leash and charged into the distance. Afraid the rabid dog might harm someone, the kennel owner quickly grabbed a stick and rushed after it. Not far away, a speeding truck roared past, crushing the Mad Dog to death on the spot. Blood splattered everywhere, staining even the pair of earrings with dog's blood. In just an instant, the spirit dissipated completely without a trace. Such an unreal scene made me momentarily unable to distinguish whether it was reality or a dream. At that moment, subtitles appeared in mid-air again. The supporting female character actually unintentionally broke the curse. Then doesn't that mean our beloved female lead wasted a perfectly good opportunity for nothing? The supporting female character is truly vicious. She actually used a dog to break the curse. How could she bear to harm such an adorable dog? Did the person upstairs miss something? This is a rabid dog that bites people, carrying rabies virus inside. It should have been euthanized in the first place. Besides, it wasn't the female lead who ran it over. Reading this, I took a deep breath with lingering fear, tears streaming uncontrollably down my face. The reason I chose the earrings, besides wanting to test the authenticity of the subtitles, had another purpose. These earrings were my grandmother's heirloom, when I was still young. My grandmother once showed me a pair of earrings and said, "When I pass away, these earrings will be yours, but remember, if your parents don't give you the peachwood hairpin inside the box along with them, you must never wear them, unless the curse is broken." Now that the curse is broken and the earrings have returned to normal, I can't feel any joy at all, so it turns out they never truly loved me. With this thought, I couldn't wait to head to another place. Tomorrow is the wedding day. And according to our local customs, the bride and groom are not supposed to see each other the day before the wedding, but right now, I want to see him, even if it's just for a hug, outside the villa. Just as I was about to open the door, cheers suddenly erupted from inside. One more kiss. My heart skipped a beat. Then came the voice of my fiancé, George. Not just one more kiss. If Bella agrees to marry me, I can change brides tomorrow. His words pierced my heart like an icy arrow, shattering it completely. Bella pouted. What nonsense are you talking about? Are you really going to give up your status as the heir of the Green family for me? George fell silent, while the others quickly changed the subject, and the atmosphere soon became lively again. Outside the door, my mind went blank. George and I grew up together. Unlike him, however, I was abandoned by my parents and sent to the countryside. While he was an illegitimate child who couldn't be acknowledged publicly, he was always whispered about by the villagers, which made him develop an inferiority complex and a sensitive personality. I, on the other hand, was doted on by my grandmother and spent my days like a wild mountain monkey, leading a group of friends either up the hills or down the rivers. But one time, I fell into the river. And the friends I usually played with were so scared they scattered in panic. Not one of them tried to save me. Just as I was about to be swallowed by the river, only George rushed down from upstream to rescue me. After that, I became like a little follower, sticking by his side, and I did so for 15 years, until he met his white moonlight, Bella. She was the campus belle, a dazzling presence. George silently watched over her for 4 years, when he confessed his feelings near graduation. Bella cruelly played with his heart. That day, the rain poured heavily. He drank bottle after bottle, and my heart ached as I held him in my arms. For the first time, he responded to me, saying, "You're all I have left." Not long after, we got together. 2 years ago, during an accident, I saved Mr. and Mrs. Green from a car crash. To repay me, they deliberately tried to set me up with their son. When George found out about this, he threw a huge tantrum. It was also then that I learned he was the illegitimate son of George's father. Through me, George's father learned of his existence. I don't know how he convinced George's mother, but not long after, George was recognized by his father's family. George was quite capable and quickly proved himself worthy of the position his father had given him. It was from that moment on that he began to harbor ambitions of competing for the title of Green family heir. Especially after the eldest son of the Green family fell into a coma, his intentions became increasingly apparent. From a humble and despised illegitimate child to the lofty position of the Green family's second young master, it took him only 2 years. He had already forgotten the path he had taken and the promises he had made to me. As I stumbled away, preparing to leave, voices rose once more behind the door. "It must be so humiliating for you, with your current status. You could have any woman you want, yet you're forced to marry someone from an ordinary family. What could she possibly do for you?" The person's tone was full of disdain and contempt toward me. "Exactly, you're nothing like your sickly older brother. He's lying in bed like a living corpse. It doesn't matter who he marries, it's just for show, but you're different. You're the future heir of the Green family. You should marry someone who can actually be of use." Someone chimed in. "Is it Lady Green stirring up trouble behind the scenes? She doesn't want you to marry someone with a family background, afraid it might affect her son," someone speculated. George remained silent, seemingly tacitly agreeing with this notion. At that moment, Bella said in a plaintive voice, "Lady Green is truly going too far. You're clearly so outstanding and deserve someone better. Yet she insists on pushing this unworthy woman onto you. It's clearly meant to demean you." George seemed to be comforting her, pausing for a moment before saying, "For now, I'll just have to endure it myself. Once I've firmly established myself in the Green family, I'll replace her immediately." At this moment, I was trembling with anger. He could return to the Green family because I swallowed my pride and made the request to George's father, since he wasn't welcomed by George's mother. I visited regularly to take care of the Green family's eldest son, hoping to show her our sincerity. When he encountered unsolvable problems at Green Group, I sought help everywhere to find solutions. In the end, all I got was, "I'll replace her immediately." Rage triggered a physical nausea, covering my mouth. Suppressing the urge to vomit, I desperately fled. The next day, the Green family's two young masters were getting married simultaneously, which should have been a doubly joyous occasion. However, the eldest young master of the Green family hadn't even woken up. So the wedding was conducted very simply, in the garden of the Green family. George's mother had no interest in marriage matters. Her entire focus was on whether the eldest son of the Green family would wake up. "You'd better not be lying. I'll give you 3 days. If my son doesn't wake up, you can get lost." George's mother showed no kindness toward her sister-in-law, speaking coldly and harshly. My sister fawned obsequiously. "Mother-in-law, don't worry, the moment I step through this door. I'm already a member of the Green family. Enough, go check on my son first. Whether you can become part of our Green family depends on whether my son wakes up." George's mother dismissed her with just a few words. I stood not far away. My wedding was about to begin soon, but I hadn't even changed into my wedding dress yet. George's mother turned around and saw me, forcing a smile onto her face. "Why haven't you changed into your wedding dress yet?" Her face was full of exhaustion, her eyes devoid of light. For the eldest son of the Green family, she had exhausted all her efforts, consulting countless doctors and even hiring masters to perform numerous rituals. Yet, the eldest son of the Green family seemed as if his soul had been taken, showing no signs of waking up. I took out my phone and played the recording from yesterday for her to hear. The recording ended, but before she could speak, the voice of George's father, who had appeared at some unknown time, came from behind. "That unfilial son, how could he treat you like this?" My eyes were reddened as I declared firmly, "Uncle, I won't marry him." To compete with young Master Green's wedding on the same day, George had suggested holding the ceremony first and registering the marriage later. Now that I'm not marrying him, there's no need for the wedding ceremony, nor the marriage registration. Everything went as he wished. "No need to marry an ordinary woman like me." George's father sighed lightly. "He wronged you. If you don't marry him, it's his loss." George's mother remained silent, but her expression was extremely unpleasant. Just like that, the wedding was cancelled. Upon finding out, my parents called me immediately, but I didn't answer. When my sister heard from the servants that the second wedding had been cancelled, she secretly slipped out of the eldest Green son's room to come find me, unable to hide her smugness. "I never thought you'd be kicked out of the Green family so soon. I thought we'd go from sisters to sisters-in-law. You're so useless. Now Mom and Dad won't have to worry about you getting pregnant before me." Carried away by her gloating, she nearly let slip too much. Flustered, she quickly shut her mouth. I looked at the peachwood hairpin tucked into her coiled updo. It had lost most of its glow. Grandma once said the peachwood hairpin and the earrings were a set. Once the earrings broke the curse, the hairpin would naturally lose its purpose. My sister's dream of marrying into wealth will be shattered in 3 days. I don't want to make sarcastic remarks beforehand, as it would only make her think I'm jealous of her. I said calmly, "May your dream come true." My sister lifted her chin, her eyes brimming with smugness, noticing I wasn't wearing those earrings. She deliberately provoked, "You don't actually think Mom and Dad gave you those gemstone earrings to make up for something, do you?" I pretended not to understand and furrowed my brows. She smiled mysteriously and didn't continue talking about the earrings. Instead, she pointed at the peachwood hairpin in her bun and said, "Just wait and see how I secure my position as the first wife of the Green family." I couldn't help but roll my eyes. She had come specifically to mock me. After finishing her taunts, she swaggered away. At this moment, the subtitles appeared again. "Our female lead is so domineering, she should totally put that malicious supporting female character in her place. The earrings have already broken the curse. The peachwood hairpin is useless now. What will our female lead do? Her fate with the male lead has just begun. She won't be kicked out of the Green family just like that, will she? You think our female lead only has one trick up her sleeve? No, 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 she's already found a sorcerer. If the male lead doesn't wake up in 2 days, she'll plant a goo worm on him. The goo worm can extend his life and wake him up, but this method has side effects. It will backfire. if this is how a female lead behaves, then I don't agree with it. Just as I was about to go find George's mother, someone stopped me. It was Bella. She was as beautiful as ever, with time leaving no trace on her face but instead adding a touch of elegance. She looked down at me condescendingly. I heard the second wedding was cancelled. Did George abandon you? I gazed at her calmly, my eyes devoid of hatred or inferiority. She seemed surprised by my composure and frowned. Could it be that you were the one who abandoned George? I nodded. George is an ungrateful wolf. I stood by him through his lowest moments, even helped him return to the Green family. Yet he showed no gratitude whatsoever, even treating marriage as charity toward me. Someone like that terrifies me. I fear one day I might die, accidentally. Bella raised an eyebrow. You're so clear-headed. Actually, I don't dislike Bella at all. Towards her, I only harbor hidden gratitude deep in my heart. Back when I was a freshman and she was a sophomore, she was already a very famous campus belle. Coupled with her affluent family background, she had countless suitors. While I was working part-time in the cafeteria, someone deliberately kicked over my tray, splashing oil all over Bella and ruining her white dress. I was terrified at the time, firstly worried I couldn't afford to compensate her, and secondly, Bella, being a rich girl, seemed like the type who would bully others. But that day, Bella took her people and beat up those who were picking on me, never once mentioning compensation. I couldn't shake off the guilt, so I secretly looked up the price of that dress. Over $36,000. I wanted to offer to pay for dry cleaning to see if it could be cleaned, but when I caught up to her car, I overheard her conversation with her brother. This is the dress you've been longing for. How did it get dirty? Who did this? I'll go beat him up. Her brother has a fiery temper. If it's dirty, it's dirty. Confronting her won't help. What if she ends up selling herself just for a dress? It's better not to make her pay. Because of those words, I worked part-time all summer. On her birthday, I gave her a bracelet worth about $7,000 or $8,000. She never wore it and probably didn't even know it was from me. After all, too many people give her gifts. Bella looks down on George, but she needs to curry favor with him now. The Lincoln family's business has been struggling these past few years, and they need a marriage alliance. The Green family is wealthy and powerful. If she bets right and George becomes the next heir, she could pull the Lincoln family up. I understand her thoughts, so I never blame her. I only hate George, hate his heartlessness, hate his betrayal. At this moment, my phone rang. It was George calling. Bella seemed to notice the caller ID and tactfully left. I answered the call. George's anxious voice came through the phone. Why was the wedding cancelled? Where are you? I'm coming to find you now. As the groom, he was the last to be notified. Listening to his voice, a flood of emotions overwhelmed me. When exactly did that brave young man who risked danger to save me from the river turn into a calculating, selfish ingrate? Hearing my silence, he began probing. Who cancelled our wedding? Was it Mrs. Green? She's always resented my happiness. In her eyes, I'll always be the illegitimate son who doesn't deserve to marry on the same day as her son. George hadn't met his elder brother many times, yet he constantly compared himself to him, striving to outdo him in every aspect. Only then would he be satisfied. You're really despicable. After saying these words, I hung up the phone. I thought these words would be enough to make him reflect, but I hadn't expected to see him making a call in the corner of the greenhouse just as I passed through the garden. His excited demeanor almost made me doubt my own eyes. Great, I don't have to marry that woman anymore. From last night until now, I've been under constant pressure to keep myself from running away halfway. I kept giving myself mental pep talks over and over. Thankfully, heaven opened its eyes. Someone intervened to ruin it, and I finally don't have to endure anymore. His tone was brimming with unrestrained excitement. Hiding not far away, I could faintly hear the voice on the other end of the call. Feels somewhat familiar. It was the voice of George's birth mother. After abandoning George in the countryside, this woman never raised him for a single day except for occasional visits, relying entirely on George's grandmother to care for him. 2 years ago, when George was recognized by his family, his mother had only one demand, that George's birth mother never appear before her. He repeatedly claimed to have severed ties with his birth mother long ago, yet unbeknownst to others, the two had secretly reconnected. Not sure what was said on the other end of the phone, but George immediately put on a serious facade and said, "Don't worry, I'm not foolish enough to reveal my true thoughts in front of them." After hanging up, George turned around and found me standing behind him. A flicker of panic flashed through his eyes, but he quickly composed himself and accused me. "How could you eavesdrop? When did you get here?" I stared straight at him. truly wanting to slap my past self, the one who had loved him to death. How could I have been so blind as to fall for such a shameless man? Seeing my somewhat eerie gaze, he pretended to be magnanimous and sighed, saying, although today's wedding didn't go as planned, I promise you, once I secure my position as the Green family heir, I'll give you a grand wedding. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. It was mockery. You, a bastard who can't even show his face in public, worthy of being the Green family heir. At these words, his eyes instantly turned crimson. He hated nothing more than being called a bastard. Bitch, he cursed while charging over, grabbing me by the throat. Stop, what are you doing? Not far away, George's father roared in anger. George quickly let go. To keep me under control, he wrapped his arm around my waist and gave a suggestive pinch, signaling me not to speak out of turn. George's father walked over, and before George could speak, he raised his hand and slapped George hard across the face. George's face immediately bore 5 finger marks, swelling up shortly after. Dad, don't call me Dad, I don't have a son like you. George's father was in a fit of rage and refused to listen to any explanation from George. George panicked and quickly gave me a look, signaling me to help smooth things over. The gradual warming of their father-son relationship was thanks to my constant efforts to mediate between them. But George credited himself for this, especially after young Master Green fell into a coma. Believing young Master Green didn't have much time left, he thought he would soon be the only male heir of the Green family and that his father should treat him like royalty. Standing aside, I slowly spoke up. Uncle, did you know he's been in touch with his birth mother? These words were like poking a hornet's nest. George's gaze swept over like a knife. George's father grew even more furious, raising his hand to slap George again, roaring, what did you promise me? Why are you still contacting that bitch? What do you take your promises for? As the northwest wind, I silently thought to myself, the reason George's father harbored such hatred toward George's biological mother was that he wasn't the one who actively cheated. Rather, George's biological mother deliberately seduced him by drugging his drink. George's father and mother were childhood sweethearts, well matched in social status, and deeply in love for 30 years, raising a lovely son together. But just then, George's biological mother set her sights on George's father, repeatedly interfering in their marriage. After being rejected by him time and again, she flew into a rage and resorted to slipping something into his drink, taking advantage of the drug's effects to force intimacy. Afterward, she even smugly sent a video of the incident to George's mother. George's mother was already pregnant with her second child at the time, but because of this video, she had a miscarriage and nearly died on the operating table. If George's birth mother hadn't escaped quickly, both she and the child in her womb would have been drowned at sea. This matter was told to me by George's mother, while I was pleading for leniency on his behalf, saying he had grown up without parental love or support. Truly pitiable. George's mother is a good person. She agreed to let George return to the Green family only to repay my kindness, but George was clearly insatiable. He now wanted not only to be the sole heir but also to bring his birth mother back to the Green family. George hurriedly explained, Dad, she misunderstood. I haven't been in contact with that person, you've got it all wrong. I pointed at his phone and said, then call back the number you just dialed. George looked at me with hatred in his eyes. Just because I refused to marry you, you're trying to push me to my death. You're truly shameless. George's father slapped him across the face again. Who's the shameless one here? Clearly, it's you who doesn't want to marry her, yet you put on this disgusting act of playing the innocent victim, blaming everyone else. You weren't raised by me. No wonder you're no good. George endured several slaps in a row without daring to retaliate. Hearing his father's intention to kick him out of the Green family, he quickly knelt down, pledging his loyalty. Dad, this time it's my fault. Give me a chance to make amends. From now on, I swear I'll never have anything to do with that woman again. I'll delete all her contact information right now. George's father snorted coldly and turned to leave. Left behind, George was frantic. He grabbed the hem of my skirt and put on a pitiful expression, saying to me, help me, you're all I have left now. A person can only be fooled once. He's already used up his chance. I ignored him and turned to leave. He chased after me, only to get kicked in the crotch. He wailed in place. I sent a message to George's mother, warning her to be careful of her sister, then left the Green family villa without looking back. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. The eldest son of the Green family still showed no signs of waking up. My parents called me back home. I made excuses and didn't return. Furious, they called me angrily, demanding, did you use some trick to break the curse on the earrings? At this point, They didn't even bother pretending anymore, because they had consulted a master who told them the curse had already been broken by someone, and the peachwood hairpin had also lost its effectiveness. The plan to awaken the Green family's eldest son using the peachwood hairpin completely failed. Facing their accusations, I turned the question back on them. If you hadn't schemed against me, how could that peachwood hairpin have lost its effect? You were the ones who stopped treating me as human first. This outcome is what you deserve. Since the earrings have already broken the curse, then return them. Those belong to your sister, I sneered. Those were left to me by Grandma. Did you really think I knew nothing? There are still elders in the family who can testify to that. You were not dead yet. When did it become your turn to inherit? Give it back now. Or don't call us Mom and Dad anymore. They love using this to threaten me, but now, I'm not falling for it. Instead, I see it as a burden. Fine, then I won't call you. Cutting ties works for me too. The person on the phone was furious. Dad roared, "You've already been dumped by the Green family's second young master. Do you still think you're some wealthy lady? I'm warning you, if you don't return those earrings, I'll expose you to the media and make sure you lose all dignity. Go ahead, I don't care." With that, I hung up the phone. That night, I was drinking on the balcony of my bedroom when suddenly, the sound of someone picking the lock came from the door. It was already midnight. I immediately called the property management and asked them to bring security to my door, while also reporting to the police. By this time, the thief had already opened the door. Terrified, I quickly locked the bedroom door and hid on the balcony. The thief began rummaging around after entering the house. My heart was pounding in my throat, and I didn't dare to breathe loudly, fearing the thief might be carrying a knife. The property management and security arrived quickly, and I stayed in constant contact with them. Just as the thief was prying open the bedroom door, security burst in and subdued him on the ground in a few moves. The lights came on, the security guard removed the thief's mask. It turned out to be my cousin. My cousin quickly shouted, "I was sent by her parents to check on her. I'm not a thief." "No, he is the thief. He came here to steal," I accused. "You bitch, if I end up in jail, the first thing I'll do when I get out is chop you to pieces." My cousin cursed viciously. I asked expressionlessly, "Did they send you to steal my earrings?" My cousin had a habit of petty theft, and it was highly likely that Dad had used him to steal my earrings. My cousin's eyes darted around evasively. "What nonsense are you talking? I don't know anything about earrings. I just came to hang out with you. I'm your own cousin. How could I steal from you?" The security guard nearby almost laughed, breaking into play in the middle of the night. "Save your explanation for the police." By then, the police had already arrived. Only then did my cousin start to panic and quickly said, "It was your dad who sent me to steal your earrings. It's all his fault. I was just helping him." My cousin was taken away by the police. In the early hours of the morning, my phone was bombarded with calls from my cousin's parents and my own parents. I simply pulled out the SIM card and didn't answer a single one. The next morning, they gathered outside my house, demanding an explanation from me. I had already moved in with a friend, so they came up empty-handed. Unable to vent their anger, my cousin's parents took it out on my parents, and the two families ended up in a brawl. Greenhouse, George's mother called me and asked me to come over. When I arrived, I saw my sister kneeling on the ground, crying so hard that her face was covered in tears and snot. Beside her was a small black box containing a few dark, squirming little bugs. After you reminded me, I had someone keep a close eye on her. At first, she pretended to perform some mystical rituals, waving a peachwood hairpin over my son's body. When that didn't work, she secretly tried to force-feed these little bugs into his mouth. My people stopped her in time. I've already consulted experts. These aren't any kind of goo worms, just poisonous insects meant to deceive. If ingested, they'd cause someone to vomit blood and die within 2 days. George's mother said with a dark expression. The sister cried, "I didn't know that person was a fraud. I genuinely wanted young Master Green to wake up. Out of respect for you, I won't make things difficult for her, but she must never appear before me again," George's mother said to me. I nodded and said thank you. My sister still refused to give up, but before she could speak, a servant covered her mouth and dragged her out. Later, I found out she had been beaten up. Her mouth was smashed, and one of her legs was broken. This can be considered her lesson. That peachwood hairpin returned to my hand. Looking at the eldest son of the Green family lying unconscious and George's mother with her hair turned white from worry, I made a wish upon the peachwood hairpin. "If you truly possess spiritual power, I hope you can awaken young Master Green." The miracle didn't happen. Young Master Green hadn't woken up by the time I left. A week later, George was expelled from the Green family. and his whereabouts became unknown. Some say he was drowned at sea, but whether it's true or not, no one knows. My parents fought with my cousin's family several times. My cousin was detained for half a month and then released. After that, he came to my parents' house every day demanding compensation for his hardship. Unable to bear the torment, my parents had no choice but to move back to the countryside. As for my sister, she went back with them. Seeing the female lead reduced to such a state is truly lamentable. 1 month later, one early morning, George's mother called me. Unable to contain her excitement, my son woke up. The sunlight was bright that day, full of life. I chuckled softly and said, "That's wonderful." At this moment, the peachwood hairpin in the corner lost its last glimmer of light. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My husband cheated. I want a divorce, and my daughter resolutely jumped into the river. If you get divorced, my home will be gone, Mom, for my sake. Can you not get divorced? I agreed with tears in my eyes. Later, my husband beat me until I was barely breathing, and I struggled to call the police. She snatched my phone away. If Dad has a criminal record, I won't be able to take the civil service exam. Mom, you're about to die, but I still have to live my life well. With immense grievance and unwillingness, I died. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my daughter was about to jump into the river. In a marriage, the child suffers the most. If you get divorced, my home will be gone. Mom, can you not get divorced? Just do it for me. My daughter stood by the riverbank, her body swaying precariously in the wind. I watched as she stood there in her thin pajamas, her young face streaked with tears. I felt somewhat dazed. This is the child I raised with my own hands. I know her favorite meals, the clothes she loves to wear, and all of her close friends, but I don't know when she became so selfish. Bystanders briefed the arriving water police on the situation. We were taking a walk here when we saw this young girl heading toward the water. Poor thing, it seems her parents are getting a divorce, and she couldn't handle it. Ida noticed the crowd growing larger. She cried even harder. I just want to have a home. You're getting divorced. Dad will have a new home, and Mom will remarry. But what about me? Where will I go after school? Some of the soft-hearted onlookers had already begun wiping away tears. The child is already so grown up. You need to think about the child and not be so impulsive. How pitiful the child is. A child without a mother is like a blade of grass. That's right, for the sake of the child. What conflict can't be resolved? Once, faced with everyone's persuasion, seeing my daughter's heartbroken and shattered state, I swallowed my grievances and tearfully agreed. My daughter's tears turned into a smile. Mom, I knew you loved me the most. The word love has bound me to a fiery pit, roasting me over the flames. They say that once someone cheats, it's either just once or countless times. Soon, David became even more outrageous than before. On Valentine's Day night, he worked overtime all night, and when he returned the next day, there was a woman's red lipstick stain on his shirt. I occasionally drive David's car out. The car wash guy, blushing, pointed at a pair of shorts and asked if I still wanted this piece of clothing, but it wasn't even mine. I pretended not to see it. I was immersed in the emotion of self-sacrifice. I believe that as long as my daughter is happy and healthy, everything is worth it. After my daughter took the college entrance exam, David's mistress became pregnant. I thought she was an adult now, and I no longer needed to endure any longer. This time, I filed for divorce with a firm attitude. David was drunk and slapped me to the ground. He got on top of me and started punching my head with all his might. What does her giving birth have to do with you? You haven't given me a son. Do you want the family line to end with me? When my daughter came back, I was lying on the ground, breathing my last breath. Ida, call the police. I want this beast to be buried with me. Why is it that he, wearing the clean shirt I washed for him and eating the nutritious meals I carefully prepared every day, could treat me so brutally? He is the one at fault for the affair, the abuser, the murderer. Even if I die, I won't let him get away with it. She knelt on the ground, clutching my hand with heartache, tears falling in large drops. I urged her to call the police. In my blurred consciousness, I heard my daughter's hesitant voice. I'm about to graduate, but my father has a criminal record. How can I take the civil service exam? Mom, you're going to die, but I still have to live. Well, darling, perhaps because I remained silent for so long, David thought I was hesitating inside. He pulled me aside and whispered, I just had too much to drink. I didn't know anything. For the sake of the child, please forgive me this once. I looked at the pitiful Ida by the river and the humble, devout David, A deep hatred welled up inside me. I hate my past self for being indecisive when I should have cut ties. I hate my daughter for being selfish and self-centered, disregarding my happiness, only thinking about herself. I hate David for insulting and abusing me. Since heaven has given me a chance to be reborn, I must stay away from these people who are holding me back. Just live however makes you happy. I gently shook off David's hand. Ida, you could swim when you were 6, and you were the captain of the school's synchronized swimming team in middle school. Someone who can swim can't possibly drown themselves. Now the water police are here too, so your safety is even more guaranteed. Your body, hair, and skin are gifts from your parents. I'm glad you value your life so much. Your father and I are definitely getting a divorce. Think about who you want to live with. After saying that, ignoring the strange looks from the people around me, I turned and walked away. I had just taken a step when David called out to me. His tone revealed disappointment, along with a hint of threat. Hannah, how can you be so heartless? This is our daughter. Are you really going to push her to her death? Upon hearing this, Ida cried hysterically. If you get a divorce, I'll kill myself. I laughed, trying hard to suppress my trembling body from anger. David, it was your affair that destroyed our marriage. Do not attempt to distort the truth. I told you, I drank too much today and don't know what I did. Save those words for the judge. Mom, you forced me into this. Ida's resolute voice came through, and she immediately jumped into the water. She was rescued just 5 seconds later, but I no longer cared about any of that. It's good that she's alive. If she had died, that would have been fine too. I haven't even gotten home yet. When my mom's call came through, David said you're insisting on a divorce and drove Ida to jump into the river. What's going on? Is this how a mother should act? He also told me, seems like he made a mistake. Men, they're all the same. As long as he can change, it's fine. You're not getting any younger, and you're divorced. Where are you going to find someone as smart and financially capable as David? Everything is for the sake of the child. Can't you just endure it a little? I admit that children are the flowers of our nation and need careful nurturing, so when her grandmother refused to help me take care of the child, I quit my promising job and chose to go home to look after her. At first, I thought I could go back to work once Ida started kindergarten, but she has always had health issues since she was little, being allergic to rice and milk. The food in the school cafeteria simply doesn't suit Ida's constitution. There's no other way. I had no choice but to prepare her customized 3 meals a day at home. This care lasted for 17 years. Haven't I done enough? Do I really need to sacrifice everything for my child to be considered a good mother? Every time David and I have a conflict, he calls my mother. What hurts me the most is that my own family never takes my side. Every time, she would scold me harshly without any warning. She said I do nothing at home, eat and drink at others' expense, so I should know how to be grateful. She said a woman who has given birth is no longer valuable, and I shouldn't be so strong-willed. Sometimes I really wonder if she is my biological mother or David's. Hannah, are you even listening to me? My silence made my mother raise her voice in dissatisfaction. Mom, this time he hit me, I said quietly. There was a long pause on the other end, and my mom sighed leisurely. You must have really pushed his buttons back then. That kid is usually so mild-tempered. Can I come home and stay for a few days? The house Mom lives in now was fully paid for by me before I got married. At that time, my parents happily said that there would always be a room for me in this home. This time, Mom paused again. My dear, it's not that the family doesn't want to take you in. You and your husband are in the middle of a divorce. What would it look like for you to come back and live with us? Your husband would surely accuse us of instigating it. I understood. This is to avoid suspicion. Not planning to take me in, I didn't have much hope to begin with, but my heart grew a little colder. The house was in complete disarray. David had previously signed up my daughter and me for a 5-day, 4-night tour. He said that during the holiday, he wanted me to take our daughter out to relax properly, but he himself, with a look of regret, said that work at the office was busy, he had to work overtime, and couldn't get away. As soon as we left, he brought another woman into the house right after. After all the planning, a flood occurred at our destination, and the airport was closed. My daughter and I returned home. Opening the door, we saw David and the others in an unsightly state on the bed. That was the most satisfying bed we bought after visiting several furniture malls. I washed the sheets and duvet covers once a month. He wants to do such a dirty thing. Why bring it home? There's a hotel less than 500 meters from our house. I was so angry that my whole body was trembling, and I wanted to call the police, but David snatched my phone and threw it aside. I tried to grab the phone back, wanting to capture evidence of the adulterous couple. He pinned both of my hands with one hand and slapped me hard with the other. You crazy shrew, what's gotten into you? I was hit so hard that I saw stars. My daughter tugged at her father's arm, pleading for me. The scene was in complete chaos, and I didn't even notice when the woman slipped away. I looked at the messy quilt on the bed, all the grievances from my past life, and this one surged into my heart at once. I grabbed a pair of scissors and cut the sheets and quilt covers into pieces. I won't use these 4-piece sets, and no one else will get to use them either. When the police arrived, David and his daughter had also returned home. She was completely drenched. I frowned. She is the precious one I have raised with my own hands. I have always taken good care of her. This father claims to love his daughter and cares for her deeply, yet he let her come home soaking wet like this, out of the instinct to care for her all these years. I blurted out, Ida, go take a hot shower and don't catch a cold. Ida looked up at me, the disdain and disgust in her eyes completely unconcealed. Now you're concerned about me. Why didn't you think about me when you abandoned me? I closed my eyes and said nothing more. Turning to the police officer, she said, Officer, I suspect my husband has solicited prostitution. Please investigate this thoroughly for me. David's face turned pale with anger. I've already told you what happened. What more do you want? Yes. He told me. After David saw the woman leave, he let go of my hand. He said she was his first love. She was unhappy in her marriage, and happened to come to our city, so David invited her to dinner to comfort her. During the meal, they both had a few too many drinks. I don't know how I ended up in bed, but from start to finish, he showed no genuine remorse, only emphasizing that everything happened because he was drunk. Whether there was any illegal activity, the police will investigate. Why are you in such a hurry? I calmly retorted. What else would you call a woman who comes to a married man's house to sleep with him, if not a prostitute? David's expression gradually twisted into fury as he glared at me viciously. The tree may crave calm, but the wind will not subside. Since you want a divorce, fine. The car, the house, the child, they're all mine. You won't get a single thing. David insisted that all the family assets were earned by him after marriage. I haven't had a job or any income all these years, so he wants me to leave with nothing. I know he is deliberately making things difficult for me. Everyone has been to school. How could they not know that post-marriage assets are considered joint marital property? I didn't waste time arguing with him and filed a lawsuit directly. With his history of infidelity, I held the upper hand during mediation. Although David is successful in his career, since we both came from rural backgrounds, everything was achieved through my own hard work, plus, one person earning while 3 spend. David's mother back home often asks David for money, so apart from 2 houses and 2 cars, there are no savings. One apartment is an old, small, and dilapidated place we bought right after getting married, worth only $500,000. The other is the spacious flat we currently live in, just moved into, valued at $2 million. The cars are of similar value. We each drive one. I volunteered to take the old, small apartment. This means I still have $500,000 in assets that haven't been received. The daughter's tuition and living expenses will be shared by both parties. My portion will be deducted from the $500,000. Once she comes of age, any shortfall will be my responsibility. In the face of divorce, there's no affection, only interests. David agreed without batting an eye, but I knew he must have felt like he got a good deal. Our daughter's 3 years of high school plus 4 years of college. This amount of money should be sufficient, but what makes me even happier is that I can finally start doing what I truly love, and that old, dilapidated apartment won't last much longer before demolition. 1 unit will be compensated with 4. From now on, I can advance as a career-driven leading lady, or retreat as a landlady collecting rent. Compared to my past life, it's 1,000 times happier. After the divorce, I moved into a shabby old apartment. I visited several yoga studios that very day and finally chose one with good qualifications and environment, paying $10,000 to sign up for classes. I've had good body flexibility since childhood and enjoy stretching and leg presses as hobbies, even joining the yoga club during university. Later, after getting married and having children, I couldn't help but take a second look whenever I saw promotional posters. Finally, I have time now. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to run 5 kilometers. After breakfast, I head to the yoga studio. Rain or shine, in less than 3 months, I've lost 10 pounds, and the reflection in the mirror shows a noticeably more energetic, youthful, and beautiful version of myself. The house hasn't been demolished yet, but my wallet is already empty. Coincidentally, a nearby supermarket was hiring part-time cashiers, so I spent my afternoons working as a cashier at the supermarket. although the pay wasn't great. At least the work was easy. Supermarket workers are basically at the bottom of the social hierarchy. In the past when I went to supermarkets, I never really looked at them carefully, nor did I think I would become friends with them. Now I chat with them every day, sharing recommendations for makeup products, and my days are happy and fulfilling. Only after stepping out did I realize that everyone's pursuit of beauty has been growing higher and higher. Sister Luna is quite a bit older than me. Yet when it comes to various cosmetics and makeup techniques, she speaks with ease and handles them skillfully. In contrast, I've been working behind closed doors for over a decade, stuck in my ways and refusing to progress. Shouldn't have done that, Sister Luna pointed at a blonde guy and said to me. Still so young, yet already so unruly. This lad has changed girlfriends 3 times just in the month I've seen him. The blonde guy wrapped his arm around a girl's shoulder and whispered something while pointing at the contraceptive product section. The girl shyly punched him. Still, she let the boy take a box. When it came time to check out, the female classmate's smile froze on her face. Mom, I skillfully picked up the barcode scanner and started scanning. $35.5. The boy looked at us both. Ida, did you just call her mom? Didn't you say both your parents were state-owned enterprise executives? Ida's face grew even darker. She quickly paid the bill and pulled the boy away. I must have been mistaken. How could she possibly be my mom? I'm starving. Let's hurry and grab something to eat. The doubts in her heart were finally resolved. In middle school, I worried about her safety when she came home from evening self-study. So I always went to pick her up, but she wasn't happy about it. She said she had grown up and lived in the same neighborhood as some classmates, so walking home together was safe. I didn't think much of it. Every time there was a parent-teacher meeting, she would ask David to go. A daughter is her father's little sweetheart. Seeing them get along so well makes me happy too. So in my daughter's heart, she's always looked down on me for being a stay-at-home mom. She thinks only someone like Dad, a state-owned enterprise executive, isn't embarrassing. Watching the two walk away, I calmly tidied up the cash register. The kind-hearted lady sighed sympathetically. That girl looks quite young, hanging out with such a delinquent. Do you think their parents know? I don't know whether to be angry or relieved. Perhaps neither angry nor relieved. Ida called me that night. How can you work at a place like a supermarket? Why can't I? How could you sink so low? After all, you graduated from a top-tier university. Ida commanded me. Quit your job tomorrow. My dad and I can't bear this shame. I can't understand. I haven't stolen or robbed. I earn money through my own labor. How is that shameful? Besides, what I do is my own freedom. I've already left that home. How could she think I would still care about the feelings of that father and son pair? When she was born, I hemorrhaged badly, and the doctor asked whether to save the mother or the child. My husband couldn't make up his mind, but I insisted on saving the child. Later, both mother and child were safe, but my body was severely depleted, and the doctor said I could never get pregnant again. At that time, holding the pink bundle in my arms, I thought it was a gift from heaven, my precious treasure, and I must raise her well. My mother-in-law despised me for giving birth to a girl and refused to help take care of the child. Every day is just playing mahjong with people and bragging. She brags about how glamorous her son's life is in the city. I quit my job and became a housewife, starting to navigate the daily grind of household chores. Life is trivial and tough, but my daughter can heal everything. Her first rollover, her first steps, her first, call mom, first time going to kindergarten. It always makes me feel the wonder and beauty of life. Listening to the sharp and harsh voice of this young girl on the phone, I was wondering, how could my education have failed so badly? I didn't speak, just gave her a gentle reminder. That boy from earlier isn't right for you. Protect yourself. As mother and daughter, I couldn't bear to see her go down the wrong path. Ida wasn't grateful. Hannah, just because you couldn't charm Dad enough to keep him doesn't mean you can't stand to see me happy. My love life is my own business. You've already abandoned me. Don't even think about interfering in my life now. In my past life, I had keenly sensed something was off about my daughter. It was observed that every night the blonde-haired boy would wait for her at the school gate. On one hand, I became stricter in disciplining my daughter, while on the other hand, I used the blonde-haired boy's shady past to threaten him into staying away from her. The blonde-haired boy stopped pestering her. After learning about it, my daughter smashed all the furniture at home. Now David comes back every night at midnight. Where would he find the time to discipline his daughter? But these are no longer the problems I'm worried about. As she wished, I will no longer interfere in her life. The next day, after the peak hours, there weren't many people. I helped stock the snack section, and caught a glimpse of Ida and Josephine strolling through the supermarket arm in arm. Their little cart was piled high with things. They walked up to me, and Ida gave me a disdainful glance, after leaving my dad. She could only end up working in a place like this. My dear mother, which counter are you assigned to? Should I put on a show and buy something? Josephine shook Ida's hand. You little rascal, don't talk nonsense. She is your mother after all. Even though she abandoned you, she did give birth to you. Ida became even angrier upon hearing this. A woman who bears children but does not raise them is the most selfish creature in this world. Josephine noticed Ida's disgust and disdain toward me, tucked her hair behind her ear, and chuckled softly. Then I'll go to the seafood section to buy a fish. You said last time that I cooked it well. You two should have a good talk. After all, no parents are ever truly wrong. I clicked my tongue at her leisurely departing figure. You look more decent with clothes on than without. That single sentence made Josephine's face flush red. She took several deep breaths, her expression turning sarcastic. Some people lack charm themselves and can't keep a man, so they blame me. David said you're just a tool for him to vent. Thank you, by the way, for taking care of David these past few years. I smiled calmly. Do you really think this man loves you? Humph. At the very least he spends money on me, and you're just rushing to be his free outlet. You even licked the plate after I've finished eating. How shameless. My two remarks left Josephine looking as disgusted as if she'd swallowed a fly. She pointed her finger at me. Ida chimed in from the side. Auntie, don't be angry. He who laughs last laughs best. You and Dad are about to get married soon. There's no need to get worked up over irrelevant people. Josephine rolled her eyes, looking smug. Your husband and child are mine now. What do you have to gloat about? Congratulations. You three make a perfect family. Heaven's garbage sorting is quite thorough. Josephine still wanted to argue with me. Ida saw the crowd growing larger, and being young and thin-skinned, she pushed Josephine away and left. We can't bite back just because a dog bites us. Why bother with that shrew? I shouted loudly behind. You're absolutely right. It's like when I'm eating a bowl of rice and find half a cockroach in it. I'd abandon both the bowl of rice and that half cockroach. Goodbye, cockroaches. Thanks to David, who shared my part-time job information at the supermarket in our university classmates group chat. Back when I graduated, many of my classmates are now earning $20,000 to $30,000 a month. They sit in chairs enjoying the air conditioning, chatting with colleagues, and sipping afternoon tea. David wants me to feel inferior, but I've long since stopped caring. I was blind back then, and I must bear the consequences myself. There was a girl who liked David at first, but David chose me instead of her. She deliberately dressed up beautifully and wore exquisite makeup just to see me. Hannah, look at you now. We should really thank David for not marrying you back then. You used to be the laughingstock of our school, and now you've actually become the joke. David dares to laugh at you. The way you're living now is all because of him. I smiled, neither refuting nor getting angry, because in her eyes I saw sincerity and anger. Didn't you used to love sports? Come with me. I'm a big boss now, running a large gym in City J. Stick with me. It'll definitely be better than staying here. I agreed with her. Give me some more time, and I'll definitely come find you. If David knew he had found me such a great resource, his expression would be priceless. Soon, the house I lived in was slated for demolition. In my previous life, all 4 compensation properties were transferred by my husband to Josephine's name. Josephine lived in one and rented out the other 3, happily earning $30,000 a month. This time, that happy landlady became me. Meanwhile, I had already obtained my yoga instructor certification. The boss asked me to substitute teach in her yoga class, with a monthly salary of $10,000. I quit my part-time job at the supermarket to do the work I love. My colleagues at the supermarket watched me become more beautiful step by step, and they all wanted to go running and practice yoga with me to get fit. The yoga studio owner was so happy they couldn't stop smiling. They gave me a big red envelope as a referral fee. I politely declined, and asked her to offer the best possible discount for my colleagues. They are all ordinary working people, earning meager incomes each month while supporting their families. Being able to awaken amidst the chaos of life and improve oneself is far better than the confusion I experienced back then. Helping them is like helping my past self. Sister Luna and the others know a bit about my situation. She said a girl came to the cashier counter looking for me recently. Sister Luna only said I resigned and didn't reveal any other information about me. The girl left while cursing and grumbling, saying that I'm enjoying a comfortable life after making money, and don't even care about this daughter anymore. I just smiled and didn't say anything. While shopping for groceries at the supermarket, I unexpectedly ran into Ida. It took her a long moment to recognize me. Mom, you've become so beautiful. After 6 months of exercise and a healthy diet, I have lost weight overall. Yes, I've lost these 20 pounds. Now, I have a rosy complexion, wear appropriate light makeup, and my figure is graceful and light. She's nothing like the mother from back then, who always looked weary and never wore makeup. She looked me up and down, then affectionately linked her arm with mine. You're prettier than all my classmates' parents now. The parent-teacher conference is coming up soon, and I absolutely have to make a dazzling entrance with you. Oh, by the way, Mom, our house is going to be demolished. I've wanted to move out for a long time. It's a bit far from my school, but that's okay. You can wake up a little earlier and drive me to school. I subtly avoided her hand. Whether you move or not is your freedom, but moving into my house is not allowed. The house is going to be demolished, and 1 unit will be compensated with 4 units. But this has nothing to do with you at all. Ida's eyes welled up with tears as she looked at me with a pitiful expression. Mom, don't you want me anymore? Even though you and Dad are divorced, I'm still your child. If you're gone, won't the 4 houses still be mine? What's wrong with me enjoying it a little early? David walked in calmly. When he saw me, his eyes lit up for a moment. Ida, don't act like a child with your mom. From the moment you were born until now, your mother has raised you single-handedly. If she doesn't love you, who will? While speaking, she had already sneakily glanced at me several times without being obvious. I let out a cold snort. Ida, back when I wanted to take you to school, you refused to let me. I work at the supermarket. I haven't stolen or robbed anyone. You pretended not to know me, so why are you eagerly coming to find me now? Mom, before I could finish speaking, Ida anxiously interrupted, guiltily glancing at David. I really didn't recognize you at the time. Oh, it's strange too. The one I bought was still a size S, which was quite embarrassing. I was neither hurried nor slow. You, Ida's face turned red. What? David's eyes widened in disbelief. You wretched girl. How could you do such a thing, at such a young age? You're not learning good things, but instead doing such despicable acts. Ida was also unconvinced. My boyfriend is handsome, rich, and treats me well. Why shouldn't I be with him? You can cheat in marriage and perform a live drama in front of us, so why can't I be intimate with the boy I love? You bastard. David, overwhelmed with rage, slapped his daughter twice with great force. He forgot the principle that a crooked top beam leads to a crooked bottom beam. I ignored their dog-eat-dog squabble, but since they were too conspicuous here and it affected the shop's image, I still gave a cold reminder. If you want to argue, go outside. Don't disturb our supermarket business. If you don't leave now, I'll call the police. David snapped back to reality. His eyes darted, and he shoved Ida into my arms. I don't want a daughter like this. David left the supermarket. Ida followed closely behind me. I checked out and left, and she pitifully stopped me. Mom, Dad doesn't want me anymore, and you don't want me either. I'm a homeless child now. You know, every time I see other families of 3 going out together, it breaks my heart. What did I do wrong? Why do adult matters have to hurt the child? Please, just let me come home with you. I promise I'll listen to you and behave well. I stopped in my tracks, expressionless. Ida, your father abandoned you. What does that have to do with me? You said back then that you never wanted to see me again in this lifetime. Why don't you have the backbone to keep your word? My house is my property alone. When I die, I'll donate it to the poor children at the welfare center. Not a single penny will be left to you. Ida clenched her fists beneath her, a flicker of malice flashing in her eyes. Mom, Grandma always said you were a heartless woman. It seems she was right. The blonde-haired guy suddenly appeared from the side, glaring at me fiercely. So you're the one who bullied my baby? What kind of mother are you? Your daughter was afraid I'd look down on you, so she lied and said you were a senior executive at a state-owned enterprise. Instead of appreciating her effort, you accuse her of looking down on you. Now that you have money, you won't give a single penny to your own daughter. How heartless. Everyone, come and see. What kind of biological mother would stand by and watch her own daughter end up homeless on the streets? The young man shouted loudly, drawing the attention of several passers-by who stopped to watch. This is the woman who, despite her daughter being in high school and going through the toughest part of her studies, had an affair and got divorced. Now that she's successful, she treats her own daughter so cruelly, letting her wander the streets. Some people were pointing and whispering. Sister Luna and a few colleagues pushed through the crowd and walked over. Everyone, don't listen to this guy's nonsense. You bring different girls to our supermarket every day to buy contraceptives. What kind of decent person does that? The yellow-haired guy smirked with a roguish grin. Auntie, we young people are just being safe. What era is this? So old-fashioned. Sister Luna also got angry. No era should be like this. I knew my sister had a heart condition. So I gently patted her shoulder. Ida, it was because your father cheated that I chose to divorce, right? During the court mediation, you voluntarily chose your father, and I prepaid $500,000 in child support for you, didn't I? I've been living in this old, dilapidated house for so long, and you never came. Why is it that now that it's being demolished, you're here to claim me as your mother? Tears were still on Ida's face, but she had shed her fragile and pitiful demeanor. Glaring at me with resentment, my dad said he was just drunk and made a mistake with Aunt Josephine. Why can't you forgive him? You keep saying you love me, so why can't you give up the divorce for my sake? My classmate's father cheated, and her mother chose to pretend not to know for her sake. Why can't you do the same? These words shattered everyone's worldview. A young girl couldn't hold back any longer. Little sister, saying that is just too selfish. Your mother is first and foremost her own person, and only then a mother. Everyone else chimed in agreement, of course. Some older folks also said, that poor girl is quite pitiful too. Ida, I have fulfilled everything a mother should bear. You'd better watch your step. I watched the scene calmly, and walked straight toward David, who was hiding behind the tree. David, a word of advice, if I'm not doing well, I'll make sure none of you are doing well either. Even a rabbit will bite when cornered, so don't push me. I thought this matter was over, but I didn't expect them to remain as stubborn as ever. My ex-mother-in-law somehow got hold of my address, and she came directly to the entrance of my neighborhood, shouting at me through a loudspeaker, "My poor granddaughter has such a hard life. A child without a mother has no one to love her. Everyone, please judge for yourselves. Hannah from Unit X. Building XX in your neighborhood is my daughter-in-law. She puts on makeup every day, dresses provocatively, only cares about her own pleasure, and doesn't care about her own biological daughter at all. My poor granddaughter has no one to cook for her at home, no one to do her laundry, and she even has to wash clothes with cold water during her period." I stood by with my arms crossed, watching. The old woman's face was streaked with tears and snot. She wiped her nose and casually smeared it on her pants, then began pouring out her grievances to me, who was standing nearby. "This beautiful lady, you be the judge. Is there such a mother in the world? She's in such a hurry to get a divorce and move out, all because she has a lover outside." Ida grabbed the old woman. "Grandma, take a good look at who this woman is." I let out a cold snort. "Auntie, did you catch your daughter-in-law cheating on your son in the act?" I heard the woman caught the man in bed with another woman. The old woman blinked her eyes, squeezing out 2 murky tears, and finally recognized me. She let out a cry and threw herself on the ground, throwing a tantrum. "It's this woman who's been fooling around with other men outside and insists on divorcing my son. My poor granddaughter, because of her, has become a motherless child." Ida knelt at my feet, weeping bitterly. "Mom, I just want to be with you. Please don't abandon me." There were quite a few people gathered around. An elderly woman began to stand up for justice. "Look at how she's dressed, all flashy and showy. She's clearly not a decent woman. The child is already this big. How could she bear to abandon her? She's truly heartless." I thought she looked familiar, and then I remembered, I had seen her before when I went back to my hometown to visit the old lady during the new year. She was the old lady's reinforcement. I smiled. "Auntie, your husband was caught in bed with another woman, naked. Can you really tolerate that? Oh, by the way, your husband is bedridden at home. I heard from my ex-mother-in-law that he collapsed from anger after catching you naked with another man. Is that so? My dear mother-in-law, at the time, you said the whole village was laughing at her family, and only you pitied her and kept in touch with her." The people around covered their mouths and laughed. The reinforcements were so choked up that they couldn't speak for a long time. My ex-mother-in-law stubbornly refused to admit it, but if she didn't say it, how would I know these details? The reinforcements turned and left. My ex-mother-in-law's fingers trembled. "Bitch, give my son's house back." In the end, it's all about the money." She lunged at me, trying to scratch me, while Ida stood up and desperately held me back. To others, it looked like a daughter pleading with her mother, unwilling to let go, but in reality, she was restraining my arms, allowing the old woman to attack me. Seeing the slap coming, I turned to dodge while trying to break free with all my strength, but Ida clung tightly to me, and no matter how strong I was, I couldn't shake her off immediately. The old woman missed her first strike, then picked up a brick from the roadside and hurled it at me. I watched as the brick came closer and closer. a sense of despair from an inescapable fate washing over me. Even after being reborn, I still failed to protect myself. No, I don't believe it, I've already done my best, I won't let anyone bully me again. I struggled desperately and managed to break free just before the brick could hit me, dodging to the side. Stop. The police who arrived witnessed the entire scene and immediately restrained the old woman. Aunt recently called me once. The general idea was that the old house was previously given to me by her son. Since the demolition is happening, the 4 allocated apartments should be given to her son. As for me, at most, keep one for me. I ignored it. You can never wake someone who is pretending to sleep. When you try to reason with her, she resorts to being unreasonable. You act shamelessly with her, and she turns around and talks about feelings with you. For someone like this, the approach is to not listen, not look, and not believe, just block them directly. It's not surprising that she managed to cause a scene with me this time. 10 minutes ago, I called the police. The old lady still wanted to throw a tantrum at the police station, but that was no place for her to act out, and she was scolded by the police. As she was leaving the police station, she looked at me with a sinister glare. Don't try to scare me with the police. What can they do to an old woman like me? At most, they'll just give me a warning. Tomorrow, the day after, and every day from now on, I'll go to your neighborhood and cause a scene. I won't stop until you return my son's house to me. I thought to myself, it's my fault for being too soft-hearted before. I was still too polite with them. Ida saw that I wasn't speaking and thought I was scared. She leaned close to my ear and whispered to me, my demands aren't high, just transfer 3 properties to my name, and I won't let Grandma come and bother you, my dear daughter. Just you wait. The next day, before the old woman could even take out her loudspeaker, she learned that her son had been taken away by the procuratorate. Over the years, David has climbed step by step to a senior management position by currying favor and giving gifts. As the person who shares his bed, no one knows the details better than I do. After returning home from the river, besides cutting up the bedding set, I also went to the study. In his laptop, every large sum of income obtained from the company's projects was recorded. Given a second chance at life, I didn't seek to completely destroy them for the sins of their past life. I just wanted to live a good life. The tree may crave calm, but the wind will not subside. Then don't blame me for showing no mercy. With disaster looming, Josephine took a bag of money that David had embezzled and prepared to flee, only to be blocked at the door by her mother-in-law. My son lost everything because of you, this woman, and now you want to leave. She dragged Josephine. Although Josephine was young, her frail physique was no match for her stout mother-in-law. In the struggle, the mother-in-law pushed Josephine down the stairs, died on the spot. This time, it's going to be very difficult for my mother-in-law to get out of the police station. As for Ida, Sister Luna told me that the blonde guy took another girl to the supermarket, buy birth control products. Ida, with her big belly, begged the thug to change his mind, but the thug pushed her to the ground and kicked her in the stomach several times. Before being taken away by the ambulance, Ida pulled out a fruit knife from somewhere, stabbed the blonde guy several times in his vital area. The blonde guy clutched his bloody crotch and passed out from the pain, but none of this was my concern anymore. I sold all 4 properties. I accepted the invitation from a friend in J City and went to work at her fitness center. Because she did well, she opened another branch in J City. I invested the funds I had on hand to join and became a small partner. Every day, I am responsible for the operations of the branch gym, busy but happy. The road ahead is long, with mountains high and paths far. I only wish to leave the past behind, doing what I love and seeing the sights I adore. Know yourself, delight yourself, surpass yourself. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.